The dream of a higher education can quickly turn into a harsh reality for many students. At Tshwane University of Technology, thousands of students have been left struggling after being defunded by the NSFAS National Student Financial Aid Scheme. Without the financial support they desperately need, these students are facing an uncertain future. This documentary tells their story, exploring their challenges they face, the hopes they hold on to, and the resilience they show in the face of adversity. We'll take a closer look at the systematic issues that have led to this crisis and what it means for the future of student funding in South Africa.
This NSFAS issue. Stop defunding students during the academic
unlawfully.
year. Unlawfully. How, these students, it's very painful that a student travels from Limpopo or rather the KZN. He or she gets a social contract from NSFAS. NSFAS agrees that I'm going to fund you from this particular period, meaning that I'm going to give you funding from March, right? The students then benefits, the tuition fees, accommodation, meal allowances, and all of that. And surprisingly, during the peak of the academic year, you decide to recklessly defund these students. So I think that NSFAS must stop defunding these kids. We're also sending a harsh warning to landlords that are profit-driven, because I also must say it that we're having landlords that are profit-driven who are evicting these students, on a daily basis. I think I got a call 2 days back from a girl child who said that I'm evicted and it's 12 midnight and I don't even know where to go. So we fail to understand it, but
how do you reason?
How do you really, chase a child during midnight? And where do you expect that child to go? And a girl child, right? So those are some of the issues that we have to deal with. We're also dealing with a situation where some of these students, had appealed. Their appeals were approved and they were defunded. So we want this defunding crisis to come to an end, because it does not start this year. It's a problem that has been ongoing from the previous academic year. I think when I was still living in the SRC during 2023, it came in and we had foreseen it, that it possesses a danger because our students are bound to be academically excluded and financially excluded. So we had to tabulate some of our concerns to the executive at the time. But of course now we're engaging with the ministry. I think we now want the Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Nobuhle, to really attend to some of these issues, because I can tell you we don't want to declare a bomb in the country, because I can tell you students are ready in the absolute majority to go to the streets and demand that they demand that attention from the Department of Higher Education, of course, and the ministry. And we're also happy with the intervention that has been made by Parliament. Parliament on a daily basis is engaging on this issue.
As the NSFAS funding crisis deepens, students at Tshwane University of Technology are facing a harsh reality. Without the financial support they need, many are struggling to stay in their residence. We have spoken to students who have been served eviction notices, forced to leave their homes and disrupt their studies. This situation is bad, with many students forced to choose between their studies and their homes. Some are trying to find alternative accommodation.
We've received complaints from both students and institutions that NSFAS has gone ahead and defunded more students on some technicalities. Students were defunded on the basis of late receipt of registration data from universities, which is not of their doing. So NSFAS says if an institution does not give NSFAS registration data of students by a certain date, they've got no choice but to defund that particular student. So this is a communication between NSFAS and institutions. But the people who are being punished are students. So it's not something we've told them in our meetings of the 7th of May. We'll continue to tell them. We don't think that's something that they must continue to. You can't punish a student who can't give you the registration data because you don't want to take it from students. You want it from an institution you and institutions don't have a good communications, la blutigana, between NSFAS and university, and a student must suffer. It's not something that we're going to accept. We've told NSFAS that.
So I was staying on 5th campus res. On April, NSFAS defunded me. I continued staying off campus for 3 months. Still, NSFAS was not paying. As the April, May, June, it was not paying. So I had to move out to Teres. I moved in here. I was not happy completely because I provided every document that was needed. I even showed them that I use my grandmother's document since no one at home is working. So I had to move here on August because of that situation. It was not easy because I used to get my NSFAS from January, February, March, and then April everything has to change. I even got disturbed on my schoolwork. It was not easy for my mom because he has to give me money now, even though she's not working a high profile job. So yeah, I went to NSFAS office to check what's the problem. They told me that I got defunded, but they don't know the reason because when I check my status, it said I'm funded. And I continue checking this, always telling me one and the same thing, you got defunded. They don't know what they can do. So yeah.
Yes, it's true that we have received a lot of students that are defunded from NSFAS. Most of the students we started receiving them from last semester, almost at the end of the semester. And as a traditional resident, we had to make sure that we take those particular students back to our traditional resident. It was just fortunate that we still had the space that some of those were blocked because we were still renovating those spaces. So we are assisting, we are continuing, we have assisted, we continue to assist those particular students, especially at South Campus and at North Campus, even in our residence. There are few students that we have accommodated, and I think the main reason for us to do that is because students can't go further because if they are deregistered or defunded, so it means they simply have to cancel the course because there's no place to stay. So that's why we are taking them to assist them for them to continue their courses.
Well, one thing for sure is that already the student community is facing a financial crisis. So defunding students simply means that the government seeks to undermine the living conditions of all students. So defunding students is not only affecting us financially, but even psychological. For instance, we've had a crisis in the University of Ventura whereby students have jumped off a building, committing suicide because of the whole issue of not having funding. It's a serious problem in the university. So we definitely feel the whole defunding crisis, it's actually a crime. Actually, the one responsible must be arrested for putting students into these conditions that they are forced to live in.
Okay, how have student organization or comrades been responding to these funding challenges?
We bought them non-stop. We never even waited for them to come to us or go public with it. The minute we heard of it, we confronted them. This is a criminal behavior. This is what we call criminal behavior. How do you take a decision that involves the people without consulting the people? The students were not consulted in the process. Why are then the government coming to impose onto the people, and then now the people have to cope with what is being imposed onto them by this government? So the reality must be spoken. This thing of having a government that has interest in profit more than the well-being of the society is the reason we are where we are. So the comrades or the political organization and structures have took a stance, especially those in the Progressive Youth Alliance, namely the ANC Youth League, SASCO, the Young Communist League of South Africa, which I am part of, have took a stance that this theme of defunding students, it's an act of criminality. It must be confronted and it must be fought. And we have been fighting. First, it was that Minister Minister Nkabani, the one who was the Minister of Higher Education. We made a march. We protested against that decision. We protested against the existence because we tried to raise these issues. We reach out to these people, but still they make up decisions without even having to come and consult us. So we are not going to be bullied by government into accepting nonsense. It's nonsense what they did.
I thank you for your time.
The National Students Financial Aid Scheme Board says it's not possible to turn the institution around in just 3 months, as promised by Minister Manamela. This means it's going to take time, elbow grease, and some serious admin, especially when you're chasing 45 billion rand owed by former students.
There is also reform of the organization, right? And reform in part talks to decentralization and regionalization of NSFAS's services, shifting the fund away from being access-driven towards being impact-driven. It talks about elements such as ensuring that there is conducive student accommodation even in rural areas in South Africa. And we intend, once we've completed the stabilization process, in really driving a reform process around NSFAS.
If you graduated and ghosted your loan repayments, NSFAS is coming for you with collection agencies.
These repayments are due once a debtor earns above 30,000 per year. The minimum monthly repayment amount is determined by income level. Debtors who earn above 30,000 per year who are not currently making the minimum repayments may have their accounts handed over to an external debt collector. The following entities are currently duly appointed and authorized by NSFAS to act as debt collectors in respect of student loan recoveries. These are Kumalo Masuno Attorneys, New Integrated Credit Solutions, Ngube Incorporated Attorneys, Mukalyu Revenue Solutions, and Q-Link